After spending last year wishing I finished more console games, this year has me particularly excited as there are a lot of good things to look forward to. From multiple entries into my favorite series to plenty of good remasters and re-releases of games I've always wanted to try, the JRPG year is already looking strong, and that's before more gets announced as the year gets going. The first release on this list might just be out by the time this is out, so it's definitely time for me to talk about my 10 most highly anticipated JRPGs of 2025 that I can't wait to play. Freedom Wars Remastered was one of my favorite and most unexpected announcements to be coming this year. It's one of my all-time favorite PS Vita games thanks to its fun action combat and lives rent-free in my head when I think too hard about society and day job life and its cynical way of thinking. I haven't played it properly for about 10 years, so I do wonder if it's as good as I remember, because from memory I love the character creation and got pretty addicted to its combat and can only assume it'll feel even better in remastered form. It's due out very soon on the 10th of January and is what I'm hoping to be my first JRPG of the year, and hope that it lets non-Vita owners or those looking for that Vita nostalgia to enjoy this standout game from the beloved library of what was a great system. Another fantastic re-release announcement from a lost console was Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, a game I thought I would one day have to buy a Wii U for, but now seems like I won't have to as this new version is coming to Switch. The 3 Xenoblade games I played so far have been some true JRPG standouts, so I have no doubt that X's Definitive Edition will be another wonderful game to grace the Switch's library. My only concern is that its game flow will be a little different as a more open-world game as opposed to the narrative-based mainline ones, but also it's not really a worry as those main games have had rewardingly explorable worlds already, so really my only worry should be how long it'll take me to finish, as so far Xenoblade worlds have been enjoyable to get lost in. March 20th is its release date, way too close to the next game I'm excited for and wouldn't miss for the world. That does make X potentially something I'll have to put on the back burner at least at release, but I know it'll be worth coming back to and to have easily accessible, as Xenoblade worlds have proven to be nothing but fun on Switch so far. My favorite series, Atelier, has a big year ahead of it with 2 console releases, both looking big, beautiful, and promising after a year break from console Atelier. Coming first this year will be Atelier Yumia, the Alchemist of Memories and the Envisioned Land, which has plenty of footage and trailers to show all the makings of a great game. Its world looks huge and open field like the lost console entry Rise of 3, with a few new kicks like high jumping mechanics and a world themed around memories. With it looking like a new story with a well-designed new protagonist, I'm excited to see what this new world will bring in the ever-explorable and gatherable worlds that console Ateliers usually offer. As for Atelier's second offering, Atelier Resleriana, the Red Alchemist and the White Guardian, there's less information for it, but I have a good feeling. Gus received a lot of criticism when they announced the service game Resleriana that I've played far more than my fair share of, that I can see them keen to prove that the world of Resleriana is the mainline story Atelier it promised to be. The little that's been seen in its first trailers show the worlds of smartphone Resleriana may be becoming explorable in red and white, and since the part I enjoy most in current Res is the story, I'm curious to see how this new story in the same world will connect while still making a world that console-only Atelier fans will resonate with. For Red Alchemist and White Guardian, it has the general release window of 2025, whereas Atelier Yumia's gorgeous-looking world will grace PC and consoles on March 21st, right near the release of Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive, to give some pause to JRPG fans who only have time for one wide world. Myself and longtime viewers of the channel know exactly where my playtime will be going, which is deep into Yumia to discover this new Atelier world. It's one of the things I'm most excited to play this year, with Red and White a close second, as I look forward to growing my love for the series in a fun and healthier way this year. The Trill series has been an ongoing gameplay project for me since I fell in love with it when I tried the latter half of Cold Steel. I've spent my free time in the last couple of years getting to know the Crossfell arc, and with a bit of luck, by the time I'm done, I'll be able to dive into the start of the series in a cool way. Trails in the Sky, the first chapter, will be a full remake of the first title in the Trails series. While many have already jumped back and played it, many like myself haven't, and will be able to experience this story on modern consoles for the first time with Falcom's modern engine. engine. Even if you have played through it though, this new version seems like it'll have new gameplay parts, such as a combination of action and turn-based combat, which means alongside the beautiful modern graphic update, it's bound to be a treat for fans of the series, and a great starting point to those who want to start with a first entry. While it doesn't have a set release date, its release window is for fall 2025, which will creep up soon enough, and has me incredibly excited to experience this arc for the first time, and hopefully follow it all the way to the current point of the series someday. Sometime this year, it'll be time to turn the lights off and get real scared as Death End Request Code Z promises to make its way west to continue the series. It's been a good while since I've played any of it, but watching the trailers, I was reminded of the thrill of its death ends that only promise to be more chilling in this Z-rated entry, but with the new twist this time being that it's a roguelike, which I can see really suiting it if wrong turns leads to absolute horror like the first one sometimes did. Just remember it's by the horror writer of Corpse Party if you're interested, and be prepared as these death end stories can really have their creepy moments. If so, it doesn't have an exact release date aside from this year, but I know I'm looking forward to getting positively creeped out by this new story between Death End Request 2 and 3 that should be a good primer for what's next, even if the Switch wants nothing to do with it, whereas I'm sure fans of the series like myself will definitely be keen to continue this dark little series. Kazutaka Kodaka's Danganronpa is one of the greatest game stories I've ever played, so when seemingly spiritual successor The 100-Line Lost Defense Academy was announced at last year's Direct, I was very excited and extra keen for its tactical battles that mean I can talk about it here. It's gonna be back to school's rules and despair, with these Danganronpa themes in a new world, and with its art direction looking cool as ever, I have no doubt Kodaka has one hell of a story to tell, especially in this entry that appeals to fans of his previous works while no doubt having new twists. It's due out April 24th, and unlike Rain Code, it being a JRPG can hopefully give me more of an excuse to play it, as I'm sure this new Kodaka title will feature a great story that will be well worth playing through. Taking a small left turn from dark JRPGs, one of the things I missed last year was Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, so I kind of hope that Yakuza with pirates can bring me back into the series this year. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii was another surprise announcement from last year, with all the colorful Yakuza outlandish story and a real world mixed with wild activities, but this time with Hawaii and a Majima twist to spice things up. Yakuza and Like a Dragon is also another series I want to dive back into, so I wonder if getting to know the well-loved Majima in Pirates would be a good way to do it, and with him seeming to have amnesia in this entry, it seems new or at least latecomer friendly, so I'm definitely curious about this Pirate Yakuza release. It's another early one for the year, due out in February on the 21st, so if I'm all done with Freedom Wars by then, I'd be pretty up for it, promising loads of cool action and a cinematic story to extend another story branch in this big series. I've loved every Rune Factory I've played so far, even if their visuals have often been a little below the modern standard, but that's going to change with spin-off game Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. It's still going to have the farming and active battles that make Rune Factory fun, but looks like for the first time with cinematic story and visuals that brings the series to modern times, a good sign for the next main series entry and for Azuma itself as a high-quality Rune Factory I never knew I wanted to play. This story about seasons is due out spring 2025, and is one I absolutely hope to play, and hope its modern visuals show many the fun this series has to bring. There isn't a lot of information on Dragon Quest I and II's HD remake, only my regrets for not playing 3 last year, but Square Enix offered a way to make up for this just a little as 1 and 2 HD are out next year. In terms of footage, there's nothing yet, which is why I'm only showing footage from 3, but if that's anything to go off, I've loved the HD 2D style every time I've experienced it, and it looks absolutely fantastic, along with me still holding Dragon Quest XI dear as a JRPG experience full of cheesy fantasy fun. It'll be out sometime this year, and the two games coming together have me excited to maybe put time into the whole trilogy, and while the year is packed full of a fair few re-releases, I'm personally far more enticed by modern visuals than I am to go back into a series most of the time, so re-releases like this made me glad to be able to try old games in a way that fits players who like modern graphics better. Another game we've seen just enough of to know it exists is Pokémon Z-A, with its first trailer kind of making more questions than showing what it is. It seems to be a more modern electric-charged theme than Arceus and looks gorgeous and high-tech while adding to its mystery, with how much I loved Arceus making that mystery exciting, as since I loved exploring, questing, and catching Pokémon in that world so much, a new setting that means doing those things somewhere else is something I have high hopes for. It's another one just slated for sometime this year, although promises to release around the world at the same time for Pokémon fans. There's likely a lot for this game to compete with in the minds of the JRPG fan, considering everything coming out, but I think with the right timing and gameplay trailers could manage to sell myself and others already somewhat interested into giving it a try. In any case, it joins a list of plenty of fun things so far that make 2025 look promising before more things get announced throughout the year, and I'm personally super excited for a fantastic year that can only get better as these things and more get released and ready to play. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below what you're most excited for this year and what else you think might get announced. You can like and share this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel for more JRPG content like this, and ring that bell to get notifications on whenever I post so you don't miss a thing. You can check out more videos here, and you can find me on social media on X, Facebook, and Instagram, all at JRPG Jungle. Links to those will be in the description below, and until next time, thank you, bye!